So as always, our collaborative agreement, you're going to mute your microphone when necessary, although usually this is kind of a little bit more laid back. We do encourage people coming off mute and sharing. Listen deeply. It's important you can't talk and listen at the same time. So we want to make sure you're giving your attention. Yes, and always, as you know from improv, it's important to just embrace what people are saying and think about how you might take this back to your group to, maybe improve upon something. Move with intention. Again, how are you going to, if you hear a good idea, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to apply it to your group? And as always, be patient with technology. It's awesome when it works, but Clemmy had a whole thing with Zoom earlier today, and sometimes it doesn't work and it's kind of annoying. So today's chat storm, what is your hobby? What are things you enjoy doing? Whether, like, for example, anybody who knows me knows I love to read and I love to bake. And so those are things that I really enjoy. Do you love football? Are you happy that it's going to be the Super Bowl this weekend? Katie says she loves gardening. Gail says pickleball, which is funny because I know Sarah Stegall was talking about pickleball, and she's going to talk about that in a little bit as well. BJ says giving high fives. Yeah, you do. You're good at that. What are some other things people enjoy doing? Painting. Oh, I have no talent, Randy, so I'm happy that some people do. I can make lovely stick figures. Sarah says sewing or baking. I'm with the baking. Karen says travel, reading groups, working with our local Parkinson's group. Yep, Dave says he loves to travel. Greg likes to bring hope to others. I'd like to know what that looks like. I want to know a little bit more. Are you doing stand-up or something? What are you doing? Lauren says photography and reading. Jen says bowling. My son is actually taking a bowling class at Florida State, which I'm not sure how I feel about it. I'm like, there's a class for that. Calissa says she just got into houseplants. BJ's also into ancestry.com. Judy says reading, watching PBS. I know she loves her puppy playtime and working with her support groups. So thanks everybody for sharing. And this is important because what we're going to talk about today, if my computer would work. Oh, come on now. Are some out of the box ideas for support group leader meetings, because you don't always want to have that group where sometimes you think to yourself, well, every year I have a movement disorder specialist, I have an APP come, I have a physical therapist, an occupational therapist, a speech therapist. And it's like you always concentrate specifically on disease specific topics. And if you think about it, as we saw from the chat, everybody has different things they enjoy doing. So let's see how maybe we can incorporate that in. And so one thing I've talked about with my coworkers is that most people have this opinion or idea of what a support group is in their head. And it's a bunch of people sitting in a circle, usually a little bit more solemn. Like you'll notice these people are a little hunched over, maybe kind of looking down. They don't necessarily look happy. And people kind of have that in their head, that that's what a support group is. But it's really not. It's so much more uplifting than that. We always talk, a support group is not a pity party, but people kind of have that it's like in a basement somewhere. They have this like AA meeting thought process that's not what it is. And so support groups look really different. Some of these are things that I found online. This is from our Get Out, the pizza party that we do. Sometimes it's about having a book club. Sometimes it's about an exercise class. Support groups can be anything you make them, and that's what's really most important. And so I've had some hits and misses over the years in support groups that I've attended. One support group, they had a laugh guru. And every time we finished, we would do something and we had to say, ha, 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 ho, 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 he, he. And at first it's kind of like in your head, you feel a little silly doing it because it feels a little fake. But by the end, you make your statement, and it's ha ha ha, ho ho ho, hee hee hee. And I remember that when I left that meeting and I got in my car, I'm like, I really feel good though. So maybe there's something to it. Fake it till you make it. But I really did enjoy that speaker. And again, out of the box, this wasn't specific to Parkinson's. This was just somebody who specializes in laughing. Now, I did say hits and misses. One of the support group leaders, she invited a funeral director. And that did not necessarily go over the best. Admittedly, the woman herself was fabulous. She was kind of like, hey, you can talk to me now, or you can talk to me later, or your kids are going to talk to me, but someone's going to talk to me. She was very just cheerful about what she does. A few people did actually appreciate it because they felt like she's giving good information. And again, this is not support group related. No one's getting out of this world alive. So, she had some interesting things to say. I think if people had maybe had advance notice, though, they might have appreciated that, because I think some people would have skipped that meeting. So again, that's why I said hits and misses. We've had a travel agent speak. Again, just because you got Parkinson's doesn't mean you don't travel anymore. Doesn't mean you still don't want to have fun. So again, not something that people might think about in terms of something that, oh, the support group should have, but why not? Let's talk about how we can travel. Let's talk about, I remember the nurse practitioner I used to work with, Terry, would say to people, I'm not saying you can't travel. I'm just saying to be more aware of it. So for example, if you're in Europe and they have all the cobblestone streets, I need you to wear comfortable shoes. This is not the time to break out your heels. That's a bad combination. Just kind of thinking it through, and that's what a travel agent can talk about. We've had a drum circle. Again, not something I would have thought about, but we had such a great time. And Clemmy made holiday cards with her group, and that went over huge. So again, just sometimes things you can do outside of the box. People have heard me talk about this. This was my favorite person. She was a professional organizer. Her whole job was helping seniors downsize, because she talked about the fact that once upon a time you had this house and other people lived in this house with you, and then they left, and yet somehow those closets remained filled, not with their stuff anymore, but you managed to fill their closets. It's almost like we see a space, we want to fill it. And so she did that. She even had a spreadsheet, the top 10 reasons we hold on to our stuff. And like the name of her topic was, what do we do with grandma's pie plate? And again, this was nothing specific to Parkinson's, but it was just really helpful. A healthcare company explaining differences in service. A lot of people don't understand the difference between skilled services such as nursing, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, having a nurse come to help you with medications, versus when you need assistance with bathing or dressing, light housekeeping, and what that entails. I once had a company call me when I was doing long-term care that not the person, the patient, but his wife wanted this woman to clean out the garage. And like, that is not what this is. And so we had to have that discussion. A librarian has actually really been a hit, not just because we like to read, but she talked about how to use the different library services, things that a lot of people didn't even know. Because, for example, in Tampa, Hillsborough County, through the library, you can actually get free museum passes. So all the different things that your local library, your county libraries will offer. Again, it's just really cool, and things that they can assist with. An inspirational speaker, we've had people, again, they're not talking about Parkinson's. They're just giving an uplifting talk, and it's really something exciting and nice to hear. And of course, activities, there's potlucks. You can do book clubs, walking clubs, happy hours, pizza parties. I know a lot of you do improv. It doesn't have to just be this like meeting where you're just meeting in a room. You can do other things, or you can do things outside of your meetings to, just keep that closeness. You can also do a volunteer activity. together, such as doing sorting at your local pantry, doing story time at the library, volunteer with another organization. For example, if an organization's having a walk or a run, volunteer at the Humane Society. Again, I'm not looking for things that are going to be long term that might be impacted with your Parkinson's, but just something that also might pick you up as well. And so now we're going to get into our groups, and we're going to talk about what have been some of your successful out of the box support group ideas. Like I know Sarah had reached out to me about, have people heard about pickleball? And I know that's something she's kind of incorporating more in, and she'll talk a little bit about that. What are you doing? It doesn't have to be this like stiff formal meeting. So we're going to put you into some breakout rooms. We'll give you guys about 45 minutes to talk amongst each other and around. And at the top of the hour, we'll come back. You don't need to do anything. As always, Kelly takes care of it because she's magic. Welcome back. We're glad you're back. So we're going to get started. I'm going to start with room 1. That's BJ, that's Dave, that's DF, that's Jen Zupone, that's Lord, and that's Randy, who I love is from Cleveland, Tennessee, but camping right now in Florida. Who would like to share from this group what you guys talked about?
I took the notes, so I guess I'll read my notes. So Lori is from PA. She has online and in person, and anybody can correct me if I have written anything wrong. She does recipe day where they make smoothies. They decorated Christmas cookies. They did 2 surveys for Michael J. Fox. Um, Lori. They did plaster paint. They hand painting, and um, he tells people in his group to introduce themselves to the people on the right, which takes up a while, and has had web care services for caretakers, and they are professional counselors, so they help the caretakers. BJ from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, has 2 groups. He has a sharing group and a speaker group. The speaker group has he suggested losing themselves in their favorite hobbies so that it gives them um, time to not have Parkinson's or think about it. Um, he's had a priest come in, which she was kind of worried about, but he said it worked out. It was authentic and engaging, and some ideas work great and some don't. He's had Tai Chi people, Qigong people. Jen is from Arizona. She's newly diagnosed. She wants to start a young onset group, and she's having challenges because people with YLPD are not wanting to divulge that they have PD. And so Lori suggested getting in touch with Power, having evening groups. She said she does go to Rocksteady in the evening, but the support groups are in the mornings. So she's working and can't go. Dave has um, more people that work with PD. So again, the we came up with putting flyers out in doctors' offices and anywhere that somebody with PD might pick them up, especially someone with young onset that doesn't want to be to let their secret out, I guess. And somebody got a drug rep to pay for the flyers. Another person suggested doing cheap business cards or Canva websites, $18 for the year for the domain. BJ wants to have a social night out, suggested Parkinson's Anonymous, for people who don't want people to know that they have Parkinson's. Dave says doctors are not supporting with people with Parkinson's to come out to be in the community. Roger used to be a turtle in a shell, but he's been blessed with Parkinson's for 18 years. His second blessing was a major stroke 5 years ago, so he's been in speech therapy. He does support groups all over the place. I think said he did 9 of them. He asked his support group leaders what would be the perfect support group look like. And so he sent out this pamphlet to all of the people, and they are to turn in their answers to a perfect support group idea. Dave said he has a flyer and he'll send out a template if anybody's interested in that. Am I running over?
No, you're good.
Okay. Let's see. Lori did a YLPD YouTube with drug reps. It's called The Ripple Effect of YLPD, and it's with Kiowa Kirin, the drug company, and it's on YouTube. BJ gets support group leaders together and they share ideas so that they don't have to reinvent the wheel. He has a website that's called the missionformovement.com, and that would be somebody has a mission for movement. Yes, he just put that in the chat. I lost my place. Somebody has a creativity coalition for PD, has ideas for the group leaders. Dave's bothered by newly diagnosed that aren't being told about support groups by their doctors. BJ said that Louisiana has festivals for everything, and he sets up awareness tables. He wears Parkinson's shirts. He's always going to be a billboard for Parkinson's so that people feel comfortable coming up to him. Because, we discussed that we can see people with Parkinson's, but do they know they have it? So you don't want to go up to them and ask. Lori suggested putting pamphlets in realtors' offices because a lot of realtors know people with Parkinson's. Doctors' offices, wineries, just drop one on the floor, Jen asked, she has a Peloton. She goes on up, uses the Peloton. She asked about support groups for PD to the Peloton people. She also told the nail girl that was doing her nails that her Parkinson's was not acting up, was acting up today. And that way a lady next to her heard her talking and felt free to talk to her. And BJ said he does the same thing. He speaks loudly about Parkinson's. The best thing about Parkinson's is how you can get the parking, your handicap parking. And then if someone's around, that they can feel free to talk to him about Parkinson's. And then Dave said, the last thing he talked about, he said, to carry a secret is to carry a burden. And I really like that. So that was
Wonderful.
basically it.
Can I say one thing about our group?
Sure.
We kind of went on a tangent with I don't have my camera on anymore here. We kind of went on a tangent about how to reach people because Jen is trying so hard to get hers off the ground. So we kind of steered away from the actual different meetings to different ways to find people.
Okay. This is your group. I just make suggestions. These are your groups.
So anyway, I thought I'd throw that in. We went off on a sidebar, but it was a good one.
you.
Thank you for doing that. Thank you for being our secretary. You did a great job. Bye. I gotta run.
Thanks.
For being here, Lori.
Bye.
Anything else before we go on to group 2, group 1? Randy was pretty, she was thorough. Okay, group 2, we've got Corey, we've got Myra, we've got Sandy, and we've got Sarah. Who wants to come off mute? Yep, Sarah. If you go down to the bottom where it says mute, if you cross, there you go.
It's just, my meds have worn off. I'm a little slow with the mouse, with my finger, actually. I'm afraid to do mine now after Randy. She did such a complete job of reviewing everything. Okay. We had some good ideas too. And if I can read my little tiny writing, I'll share it. Carrie is an occupational therapist, and she and another person share a massage person, I think. They share a meeting. They're together for half an hour, then they split apart. Carrie does the care partners, and the other gal does the, I guess it's massage. Where is Carrie? Is it Corey?
No,
Corey.
she's a speech pathologist.
Speech pathologist. Okay. Yeah. And then we've had guided meditations as speakers, acupuncture, dog therapy, and a Lego day. We all like the idea of a Lego day where you bring in a ton of Legos and that's what you do for the meeting. You just build Legos. And then Bernard, they like to start their meetings off with fun and doing sand art, finger painting, just any fun thing. And they started off, the leaders started off with the ideas, and now they've turned it over to the members to come up with the ideas. And so the member now has to bring in all the supplies and arrange for everything. And that's working out real well for them. And let's see, the educational needs, they don't spend a lot of time on educational in the meeting unless a good percentage of the people are interested. Otherwise, they'll get a flyer and send it to whoever needs it. Just trying to keep everybody interested all the time. And another nice thing that they do is they reach out to the members and speak to them one-on-one, so they kind of know what's going on, what the needs are, what the people are interested in. And that way, they're always in touch. And there's out there seating so that, when the people come to the meeting, I guess they're more comfortable and their questions are being answered one way or another. And let's see, what else do I have? Oh, Barbara and Katie were together, and she told me, I don't know which one it was, told me about the National Institute on Aging and on Health, how you can get flyers from them, and the American Parkinson's, I can't read my writing, association.
Probably the American Parkinson's Disease Association.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. Told me about those 3 places to get handouts if I needed them. And I mentioned Parkinson Foundation, who is always good at sending me pamphlets and books. And let's see. And I talked about pickleball and what we're doing in Las Cruces, and probably you support the group leaders. If you're on the PMD website, you'll be hearing from either John, Levy, or somebody. John is our coach. He teaches us pickleball for free. We are meeting at the city racquetball court, which is there's about 2 feet between the blue line and the wall, so it's kind of difficult getting those long shots. But we've changed up the rules a bit. We get 2 bounces instead of just 1 for us because we're a little bit slower, and we don't, one of the rules is no running, and another rule is no falling. Well, actually, there's 3. Don't step backwards. You turn to your side and go sideways, or just totally turn around. And we're really safe. We've only had a couple of falls. I was one of them. My balance isn't good. But I'm doing so much better now. I can run up to the net and not real fast, but I can get up there. And so anyhow, he wants all the Parkinson's support groups to be doing this, to offering pickleball to their members. He has no charge. The city has given us half price on the rental of the room. And then the Oregon Mountains Pickleball Club has paid for our rent last year, and I think is going to pay it again this year. And he's coaches out there, just he's so proud of us, and he's so happy to be doing this. And we have a couple other, well, my secretary treasurer is really good at pickleball, and she's helping with the training. And then another one of our board members is also helping with the training. So it's been a really good deal for everybody around. And we have about 10 people that can come regularly. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but we probably have maybe 30 people who are physically able to get up and walk and move, on a court. And let's see, I think that's all I have. My group, do you have anything to add to it? My writing is so tiny right now, I can barely read it.
I think you covered everything.
Okay. Okay.
Thanks, group 2. And then last group 3, Greg, Craig, Judy, Karen, and Lauren. Who's going to come off mute?
I'll start, and then others like Greg and Judy can jump in. We talked about a gazillion different things. We had a brand new person in our group, and a couple of us offered to send her materials that she can use to get off the ground and repeat what somebody else said about getting the word out about the report about your group to wherever, so people know that you exist. We had a lot of good ideas for unusual things to do at meetings. Some of them revolved around getting to know each other better. Somebody does the 2 truths and a lie. I have a list of things that identifiers that people have to get signatures and find out a little bit more about them. But having in-house, you don't always have to bring in people from the outside. There's a tremendous amount of expertise within the group, and people coming in to talk about tips and tricks for Parkinson's, talking about their hobbies, about creativity. One of the things that I mentioned was one of our favorite programs from last year is, I've probably mentioned it previously in other meetings of this kind. We had an artistic showcase in which our local Parkinson's singing group, taiko drummers, and dance people all came in and performed individually and then performed together. And that's going to be a key part of our symposium here in Santa Cruz on March 16th, an artistic showcase. And I forgot to mention that it's going to start out with the Parkinson's rap that Sharon Ka, if you ever haven't seen Sharon Ka's rap, it's KHA online. It's hysterical. She's in Arizona. It's very funny, and people in our group are modifying it. So that's a lot of fun. So we talked about unusual things that we've done within the group, but we also went on to talk about other things. There was quite a bit of conversation about the need for educating the community at large about Parkinson's, not just about the motor symptoms, but non-motor symptoms, in the hopes of picking up people with who are at risk for Parkinson's earlier, so there's something can be done for them, and the need for emphasizing more funding for research and getting the word out to young people too about career paths, which involve dealing with people with us. Some of you may have seen the prediction that by 2040, there could be between 17 and 20 million people with Parkinson's in the United States. So we're going to be needed for a long time in the future. I haven't covered everything. I wonder if Judy or Greg or some of the other people in our group might want to jump in and talk about a couple of other things. We had a really good group. We had a lot of fun today. We were smiling a lot of the time. Greg or Judy?
I'll go. Yeah, we had a good group. Talked about a lot of different things as far as dispersing information and getting the word out, speaking to school groups. You know, a lot of people talk to support other support groups or even church groups or different groups like that. But talking to school groups and challenging the kids, hey, want to get your name on the map? Find the cure for Parkinson's. That'll bingo, bango. That'll get you on the map pretty quick. So we discussed a number of those types of things. We talked a lot about practical tricks of the trade. You got to create like kind of summary sheets that you give to their people because as all of us at this meeting know, if you have Parkinson's, you can think your way out of a wet paper bag about half of the time, and the other half you can't. But if you can take home a handout, take home something, a reading assignment, that's what we do at our support group. We try and cover a lot of different topics, not only education for ourselves, but education. How are we going to educate the public about this disease? Because virtually everybody has heard of Parkinson's. Almost everybody has no idea what Parkinson's is. Couldn't tell you a substantia nigra from an STN if they needed to. But if we're going to have Parkinson's, we need to know that and get that word out. We also spent a little bit of time talking about what we can do politically to try and get more research dollars. It's appalling, literally appalling, the variance between neurological disorders and research dollars given in the last 20 years. So we need to do a better job of that.
Yeah, I think we were kind of guilty of deviating from the topic also, but it was getting really interesting. I hated to have it end. So we did a lot of talk on research and future medications and, what's going on with all this new studies now. So
Building new brains with 3D technology.
Yeah. It was really getting exciting. We ought to do a sidebar here somewhere.
Links.
Oh. Again, we always say I just make suggestions. This is your group, so run with it. We are almost out of time. Next month, we're going to be talking about normalizing difficult topics. So yeah, some of us are very comfortable talking constipation, incontinence, and all of that, but some of us aren't. So let's normalize it. Let's make it happen. So let's just talk about it. I'm going to wish everybody a wonderful day and a good rest of your month. And I hope to see everyone next month and before that on NLO. Bye, everyone.
Bye.